Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and once again, I'm saying sorry. Didn't have videos the last 2 days, something went wrong with the upload, and I was gone. Anyways, today we have a video courtesy of Kelorn in the Tier 10 French cruiser, the Henri IV. And first, this ship just looks beautiful. I love the squared off stack, and it just reminds me of a number of different kind of classic warships I've seen over my lifetime and seen at sea. You know, it's almost a little more modern a design, kind of with those squared off features. And this is Kelorn's first ever game in the Henri, and it's going to be a decent one. Playing on trap, the matchup is good. Couple tier 10s, couple tier 9s, lots of tier 8s, and that just leads well to when you're in a tier 10. You know, it's nice to be big ship. That's half the fun of playing tier 10 as well. At least you know you're always going to be top tier, but you don't know what else is going to show up. And this is a pretty balanced match as well as far as just ship compositions. 4 BBs, 5 cruisers, 3 destroyers on each side. And it should mean a fun game if the team plays well. You can see the Benson has charged up into Charlie, is capturing that cap nice and early, but it looks like the capture is paused, so, well, we know the enemy team has at least 1 ship going that way, 2 now that the Bismarck is spotted, and, well, Kelorn is spotted. 12.7 kilometer detection is not great, but it's not bad, and you know it's a DD in the cap, because there's the smoke, he's not detected by the Benson, and unfortunately the Benson has bailed. So now it is up to the rest of the guys here to try to destroy that cap or disturb it. And Kelorn just slides a shell down the side of the Bismarck, shell detonating on impact, not making it through the armor. But obviously he is going for some fires off the start here. Bismarck at range, that's what you want, and he gets one. You can see the Donskoy flinging HE. You know, at long range against a battleship, it's not a bad strategy, especially if you can force the cooldown, and it looks like at least 2 fires are going on that Bismarck now, half the ship up in flames, losing some hit points, so any second I would expect to see, you know, that tick of damage to stop the Bismarck to use their cooldown, and pretty much the second it does, the Bismarck becomes a fair game again because relight the fires. Enemy Z46 does get detected in the cap, but it's not to say he's not alone. Or, you know, he's kind of coming out the other side of the cap from where I would have expected the destroyer to be, and since no others have been spotted, it would not surprise me one bit that another destroyer is somewhere up here. And you can see Kelorn taking some blind shots into that smoke based on last known position, but this is really a job for the Torps. He sends them away, and there's another DD. So kind of like I predicted, just didn't make sense for the Z46 to show up where he did and there not to be someone else here. And Kelorn is in a tricky spot here. Because that gearing has him spotted in, he's spotted in general, you have to assume there's more than one set of Torps coming his way. Great hit on the Z46, one more decent connection, and he should be dead. Okay, there's one less destroyer. And next up is the gearing. And I'm just going to take manual control because Kelorn is looking all over, just trying to watch all of his flanks, and it can get a little distracting. Gets a second kill, wiping out the other DD, and I would go back to the Bismarck. There are other ships, but the Des Moines is behind a rock, the Bismarck's right in the open. You'll notice he is keeping his bow in towards the Bismarck, and that's what you have to do. When you're focusing on other ships, you have to pay attention to the rest of the things around you to make sure you're not just giving a broadside up. And he puts the AP to decent use there, 6,000 damage out of the first volley, and he's just keeping his ship maneuvering. And another shot, come on, big damage, 8,800. Proof positive that this AP when used right, is still good. I know some of the people off the start really thought the French AP was underpowered, and there are a number of reviews saying that, and I really don't think it is. Like any ship, there's times to use it, there's times not to, and you just have to know when is appropriate. And Kelorn quickly gets himself around facing the next kind of main target in the form of the North Carolina. And he's going to take shots at the Edinburgh because that's all that's spotted. But I suspect that will change potentially, though he may just keep shooting this Edinburgh because he's side on. This is a perfect shot. You can see him killing his speed, trying to throw the torpedoes off as he lands 3 massive citadels into that Edinburgh, taking away about half his health. Another volley of AP. Will it connect as well? And it does. 2 citadels. The rest of the Edinburgh's health, and now this North Carolina is all alone. Amazing how quickly things can change. And just bow in, slight angle, bounces most of the damage, gives a citadel to the North Carolina, who is also sitting side on. You know, battleships are not immune, and he is just proving it, punching another sit into that North Carolina, just pecking away at his health, 1 volley at a time, and keeping himself keeping himself angled. See, next volley, it connects, it does a lot of damage, but he's not making it easy, and the North Carolina is. So Kelorn picks up his 4th kill, 115,000 damage in. The team is doing quite well. You can see pretty much everyone is behind him. Got a Yugamo who snuck into the south side of A and is probably scaring some of those ships with torps from behind. Charles Martel north of B chasing down the North Carolina, but otherwise, all of Kelorn's team came to Charlie, and that's not a bad thing. They've secured a flank. They took out a good number of ships. You know, the key when you do lemming a bit is to keep pushing. And Kelorn did a good job at leading that charge there. He just kept his engines ahead, dodged torpedoes as he needed to, and kept his bow to the biggest threat while just absolutely working down all the other targets. And now to finish this match off, we're basically going to have 2 big clumps of ships sailing straight at one another, and it's going to come down to focus. I would say obviously one of the remaining destroyers is in Bravo. It just makes sense. It's getting captured. No one's spotted. It's safe to say the DD is there. So you have to be a little careful approaching that island. But with nothing else spotted, Ibuki is a good target. You can see he did load up AP, and he waited. Waited for that weave and the Ibuki's kind of turn to avoid that island, to throw the shells, gets another citadel. Unfortunately, doesn't manage to get the kill. His friendly North Carolina finished him off, but he did get Confederate. And Kelorn is spotted and no longer detected, so you know the destroyer general position. Because he wasn't spotted there for a bit, the destroyer had to be somewhere behind this island. And I would say it's safe to say to the north, and of course right as I make that assessment, he appears to the south. But paying attention to when you are and are not detected, and what your range rings are doing in the bottom corner, gives you a lot of information. I've had people claim I'm hacking because just by reading when I'm detected, I was able to figure out where they were sneaking in their destroyer, and they didn't think it was possible for someone to do that without hacks. Well, as many people know, just some good situational awareness is all you need to do absolutely amazing in this game. And unfortunately for Kelorn, this enemy team is kind of evaporating before he's able to get any more big damage or kills in. You know, he shot the destroyer and then someone else finished it off, and he's so close to a Kraken, and you can only imagine how amazing it would feel. First game ever in a ship to just sail out, get a Kraken. Like, proof positive that you're going to have a good time. But 4 kills is definitely good. And there we go. Gets a fire on that Montana. And can he do the same to this Bismarck? He is tempting fate a little. He is side on, but you can see both these ships aren't looking at him right now. The Montana sinks, so it's just this Bismarck and the Benson up ahead. And he is focusing, not Bismarck, Tirpitz, sorry. Just this Tirpitz, and it's actually Sandwich Killer, who I believe I have featured on this channel before. But he is a goner. Look at all those torpedoes going his way. Some big damage. You know there's floods. The fires have stuck. And the Benson gets the final tick, leaving just this enemy Benson. And hopefully he can pick up the Kraken. Of course, one shell connects, incapacitates the engines momentarily. And it's really going to come down to one final volley here. He gets it. And how about Dem Apples? First game ever in it, and he gets a Kraken. 585,000 credits, 10,000 experience. I'm guaranteeing there's something else going on there. Confederate, First Blood, Kraken, high caliber, 167,000 damage. All with the guns, 5 kills, picking up that Benson at the last moment. Final volley wins it. And 10 Citadels, just putting the AP to work. The Edinburgh, the North Carolina, even that Ibuki, just knowing when to load the armored piercing shells and when to shoot them. And proving this is a good ship when you use it correctly. I know, like I said earlier, some of the early reviews were a little negative on it, saying it wouldn't be as useful. And watching this game, I'm gonna have to disagree for now. Obviously, I'll know a little more once I get there. Tops the team, no real surprise. When you get 5 kills, lead the way into the cap, you get rewarded. And it's making those smart plays when you've got people with you. Lead the push. It'll help your team, because what hurts teams is when too many people go one way and then never make that charge into the enemy group. They just sit there and get pecked away one at a time. That's really how you lose matches. And when you do look at the damage, some pretty big damage to some of the more threatening ships to him, namely that North Carolina. You know, it may have been a tier 8 battleship, but it's still a battleship, and Kelorn was still in a cruiser. If you don't play smart, you're going to eat a lot of damage. But he kept his bow in, kept it angled, and absorbed a lot of damage, as you can see. And that's really how you survive in cruisers when you get caught in close near a battleship, just like the Des Moines game I shared the other day. And all told, walked away with 393,000 credits, 10,000 experience, and looks like another skill point for his captain, which is always welcome. Anyways, thank you very much for sharing this one with me, Kelorn. I enjoyed watching it. I can't wait to get a little higher. I've been stuck in the Algerie for a week or so now, just because I haven't been playing much. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you later.